to order. Roger, can you lead us in the flag salute?
I absolutely can.
Okay.
All right.
Flag is over there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start, actually, I think we have a few special guests here.
Oh. Big surprise, Mr. Perry.
I did roll call, right? I'll just.
Now that makes sense. When I pulled up, I'm like, is there some performance here tonight? I didn't know.
We're watching with eager eyes. Good day.
Hello, everyone. I apologize to interrupt the beginning of this board meeting, but we are students from the RMAC Orchestra, and we are in the middle of a fundraiser right now called Valentunes, where we go out into the community and sing love songs for people in honor of Valentine's Day.
I hope it's Caleb's
Is this
whisper.
good camera-wise? I don't know.
Nah, camera will be fine.
That's your best side.
As tight as we can get.
That pretty good?
So you go. How truly delectable. This would be a good shot if we had any of the actual located journals. Too bad.
We're gonna tune for a second. That awkward moment. Good? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got one more.
Okay, let's see.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry, I can't give you my food.
It's okay.
Say it again.
I can't give you any of my food.
Oh, you're good.
That sign was not, he's not his first dance. Well, I was
I was kind of hoping for Careless Whisper.
Yes, I do from that.
I didn't know the songs that I think so. I also could
Yeah.
hear the lyrics
Yeah,
very
we
well.
didn't do that
If I heard the lyrics a little better, I probably
We didn't do that yet. Okay. Okay. That was pretty awesome. Thank you. 1.3 roll call. Violet Miller-Woost.
Here.
Zoe Johnston.
Here.
Taylor Nada is obviously off. Cedric Aaron Jr.
Here.
Joanne Moore is ill tonight. And Teresa Grosjean.
Here.
Aristea Salisbury.
Here.
And Natalie Jeanette. Aristea, will you read our land acknowledgement?
Will. Northern Humboldt Union High School District acknowledges that the land on which our schools sit is Wiyot ancestral land, and Humboldt is the unceded territory and traditional ancestral homeland of the indigenous nations Hupa, Karuk, Matole, Tolowa, Wailaki, Wiyot, Yurok, and other original inhabitants of Humboldt County. We respect and share our gratitude to indigenous communities who have and continue to care for the land as elders have instructed the young through generations. We commit to deepening our relationships with tribal nations and communities through our work as a district.
Thanks. No recognitions or awards tonight? Okay. 3.0, public comments. First up, district employees. Individuals speaking on matters not listed on the agenda are asked to step forward to the lectern and state clearly their name. No action may be taken on topics not listed on the agenda. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each non-agenda item. Any district employees? No? Okay. Oh. Can you wait just 1 second? I'm just gotta get my timer going.
Okay. My name is Jacob Godinez. I'm a math teacher at Arcata High School. I wanted to take a couple minutes to speak about the tardy sweeps. It's a process that I'm still unclear about. We had a presentation at our staff meeting, I think it was the last December, the last week of December, and we were told that tardy sweeps would be announced with just 3 minutes left in passing time, so changing it from making the announcements during class time to making them during passing time to reduce the amount of distractions that we have in class. And I think it's happened 2 or 3 times this semester where the announcements are happening during class time. They usually happen at the end of class, like in the last 5 to 10 minutes, which for me is the time that I try to do a lot of my closure activities and try to wrap up a lot of the ideas that we studied in the period. I've brought it up during our staff meeting with our admin. I brought it up with the admin that are making the announcements, and it happened again today during, I think it was our 4th period. There's an article in the Pepper Box talking about the tardy sweeps, and the headline is it time to sweep the time to sweep the sweeps under the rug, with a lot of quotes in there from students, from staff, and would recommend that you, if you have a little bit of time, to read that article. On October 26th, I wrote an email asking questions about the tardy sweeps. I specifically asked about how they work. How do we know what time a student checked in during the tardy sweep? And I had a student that was caught in a tardy sweep, showed up to class, I think 30 minutes after the tardy sweep, and then I asked for clarification about how that process works, just asking if we can have a timestamp when the students get caught in the tardy sweep. It's the same thing they do during the tardy slips. There's a little timestamp. That way I can know when they checked into the office and if they came directly to class. But we're kind of losing some accountability, I think, with the students of knowing if it's a tardy, if it's a T30 tardy, if it's a tardy sweep, or if it's a cut. I asked if there's a certain time frame that the tardy sweeps are taking place, and if a student doesn't come to class right away, does that count as a cut, or is it a tardy sweep? And I never received a response to the questions for that I had on the tardy sweep. So I think we could probably do better with communicating with the teachers of what the expectations are for the tardy sweeps, and specifically with the consequences. Thank you.
Any other district employees? Okay. 3.2, non-agenda items. Members of the public may comment on non-agenda matters. No action may be taken on topics not listed on the agenda. Please state your name at the lectern. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Any members of the public who want to speak on non-agenda items?
Hello, my name is Frida King. I graduated from Arcata High last semester, and I'm also a Student Voices Leader for Create California, which is an arts education advocacy program. As a student representative, I feel like it's my job to speak up about the arts. And today I would like to call your attention to the statewide shortage of arts education and our district's role in this issue. So why is arts education important? Well, if a student has good access to arts education, they are 3 times more likely to win an award for school attendance, 3 times more likely to be elected to class office, and twice as likely to graduate. Most people also agree that students with good arts opportunities feel like they have a better quality of life and have better mental health, which has been increasingly important after the COVID-19 pandemic. This all suggests that art is not just about painting cool pictures, it's about empowering students and helping them to succeed in many other areas of school. Earlier this month, I did a little art project with Maestra Catalina's 4th grade class from Fuerte Nueva. I asked all her students to paint what they think is important, and this is what they came up with. I think it's pretty cool, lots of 49ers, like a beaver, a cheetah. And I glued them all together because I think it's a really good representation about how the arts can foster a really good sense of like creativity and a collaborative community. I also asked the students to write down why they think art is important, and they gave me some pretty cool quotes, such as, "Art is a lifestyle that anyone can learn, but only if they get a chance to learn. Art is a place of imagination, a place where you can draw your dreams. And art is a way for people to express their feelings without using words." In 4 or 5 years, these students will be at our district. And they will be the ones experiencing an excellent arts program if we can provide it for them. I don't know about you, but I really want to see these kids succeed because they're showing so much talent and passion. And if they can succeed in the arts, they will most likely be able to succeed in many other areas. Insufficient funding and lack of training for teachers remain the biggest barriers to providing excellent arts education throughout the state. But luckily, this month, Prop 28 is coming out. 70% of those funds are supposed to go to teachers and 30% are supposed to go to materials. So basically, I'm here today to ask you to make sure that this money is used effectively and appropriately. Like anywhere, our arts programs cannot function without adequate teachers and materials. And I think our arts programs are pretty good, but there's always room for improvement. There are always holes to fill in terms of materials and good funding for teachers. I can't tell you everything that needs to be changed about our arts programs or every little nitpicky thing. So instead, I urge you to listen to students and teachers and their opinions, because that's where you'll find the places that can be filled and where our arts programs can be improved. Thank you. Hello, my name is Alexa Alto, and I'm one of Arcata FFA school board representatives. I'm super excited to tell you what happened this past month. We had 13 students attend the Chico Field Day. Our forestry team got 5th, welding was 8th place, and our vet science team shows amazing growth. We had our January monthly meeting where we had nachos and played a fun game. We had 14 students attend the Made for Excellence and the Advanced Leadership Academy, where they learned leadership skills to bring back to the chapter. We had students attend the CR Day, where our teams did amazing. Our vet science team took first, our welding team took first, our forestry team took first, our job interview team took first, our extemporaneous speaker also took first. We also had the Art Buckle Field Day where vet science, forestry, creed, and job interview attended. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Zinzelmeyer. I'm one of the 2 school board representatives for Arcata FFA. Coming up, we have our monthly meeting in the FAB this Thursday at lunch. We had 11 out of our 13 competitors from the Arcata FFA move on to the regional speaking contest on March 5th in the areas of creed, impromptu, extemporaneous, prepared, and job interview. We also have 3 students moving on to the state level for proficiencies: Lexi Alto for job placement, Jocelyn Haig for sheep production entrepreneurship, and Katarina Morones for outdoor recreation job placement. We have 2 students receiving their California FFA state degrees on March 6th in Fortuna. And lastly, we have 15 students attending the Gridley Field Day on March 1st and 2nd. Thank you.
Okay, 3.3, agenda items. Individuals will have an opportunity to speak on items on the agenda before board discussion on that item. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda item. Please state your name and address at the lectern. The board shall limit the total time for the public input on each item to 20 minutes. 4.0, consent agenda. All matters listed under this category are considered to be routine by the governing board and will be enacted by one motion on a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is required, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Does anybody want to pull anything? Okay.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I will second.
Sorry. Okay, so Cedric Aaron Jr.,
Aye.
Joanne is absent, Teresa Grosjean,
Aye.
Aristace Salisbury,
Aye.
and Natalie Giannini.
Aye. Okay. 5.0, student learning and achievement. 5.1, recommend approval of new course, biology and community health 2.
Sure, and this is, we talked about this a little bit, I think, at the last meeting. This is, we received funding after the new year for this class, and so Kim has been working on developing the curriculum and working with the science department, both at Mac and Arcata High, to integrate this into their work. Do you have any questions about it?
I just have one kind of curiosity question. As I was reading through it, I was wondering if there's any place for this, is a CTE pathway too, since it's a job
Yeah, that's what
training?
they're trying to do. Is
There,
yeah.
okay. So it won't be next year, or is going to be? I just didn't, I couldn't find that in.
Yeah, I think they're hoping that this would give enough classes to get through for that.
Okay,
So that's the goal, is moving forward there.
great.
So.
Any public comment? Okay, bring it back to the board for questions or a motion.
I will move to approve item 5.1.
I'll
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. 5.2, MHS Student Services Department presentation.
Good evening, board. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to bring up our slideshow just really quickly here. And so we're
And
gonna-
one sec, Ann, is there a chance that you could speak from the mic?
Would you like me to step
Well, for all the folks, for anyone that's at home, they wouldn't be able to hear you
Of course, of course.
or see you.
I can also move my laptop up there.
There you go. Thanks, Ann.
Come a long way. So I'm Ann Solberg, and I get the privilege of being our department chair for student services at McKinleyville High School. And we have a 10-minute presentation tonight for you, talking about what we do as a department, but also emphasizing our new grant-funded partners and some partners we've had for a really long time. So in my years at McKinleyville High School, I feel like right now we're probably at the pinnacle of services we've been able to offer in all those years. Our partnerships have been incredibly rewarding. We use this as a model. So the 8 Dimensions of Wellness is a model that's, I feel like it's in a lot of different psychology organizations. And it's just the idea that all of these pieces work together. And if I hit the hide button, does it hide the bar? Thank you. And I just didn't want it to hide my slideshow. So you can see there's a lot of different aspects here. And with some of the new partnerships we've had in the last 2 years, we're able to say we touch on almost all of these now in our program. So just to review, there are some of us who've been in the department for quite some time and on the campus. So Susie is one of our wonderful counselors, and I am one of our counselors as well. You can see between the two of us, there's a few years of service. And then our student assistance counselor, Mr. Evans, he has the entire campus that he supports. He's been in this role for about 30 years. Our school district nurse, Mr. Kell, 8 years. And then our school psych, who has campus-wide services along with our Eagle Point program, 16 years as a psych and 3 years on our campus. But the emphasis tonight will be about our the partners that are new and somewhat new to our program. So Carrie Lockard is our school social worker. Colleen Jake is here tonight. Thankfully, her class concluded early, so she could be here to talk about her role in Indian education. Our trio advisor, Cece McGehee, will also be speaking about her work. I'll cover for the success coaches, who are both college students who couldn't be here tonight. And then we have our campus supervisor as well, who will be sharing. So folks, I'm just going to leave this up here if you'd like to advance to your slide as we go through. So Carrie, if you'd like to start. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Carrie Lockard. I'm the school social worker at McKinleyville High School, and this is Williams Pena. He's our MSW intern working with me. How many students have I counseled? I was trying to count how many things I've done, and I'm not great at keeping track, but what I kept track of was up to 220. And so that's on to question number 2, that's various contacts, so home visits, crisis intervention. We do some anxiety and depression, stress management groups on campus, sometimes in the classroom stuff. Let's see, I know I'm missing stuff. Reaching out to independent study students. I think I mentioned home visits already. Home visits are usually like attendance related, so kids that aren't coming to school, we go to the house and try to figure out what's going on. Also doing referrals to community resources, Bridges referrals, other counseling services. I know I'm missing stuff, but that's all I got for now. Best part of my role, the work with the students. I love the work that I do with them, and I feel like I'm making an impact each day, even if it's just a small little check-in because they're having a conflict with their peers, and then they can go about their day and finish the school day. I really enjoy the work I do with students, so thank you.
We'll have a question slide at the end, or questions at the end. What's best for the board also if you wanted to follow up. So just put them up.
Does anyone have any questions for me? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, not that.
Oops. Maybe it went to sleep. Oh, maybe it just went blank. Okay, there we go.
Hi, everybody. My name's Colleen Jake. I work in Indian education. This is my 3rd year in this position. The grant started as a different grant that was primarily aimed to help our Native students look forward towards college and career after high school. However, being in that role exposed a lot of other needs that the students were facing, including social, emotional, behavioral, educational. They need academic support. So my role has kind of evolved to fit the needs of whatever our Native students need at the time. I'm doing a lot of counseling, one-on-one. I'm actually finishing my master's right now and will be doing the school psych intern position next year. And so it's been fun to grow through this role. One example of interactions is we had a young student who felt very judged by his peers for being in a course support class, and his solution was just not to go to that class. So we talked about other opportunities for him. We actually ended up putting him in another class, a culinary class, and he has thrived. His mom calls me all the time and tells me about the wonderful things he's making at home. So everybody's thankful for that. And so I think just getting to know these kids and what they enjoy and how we can support them on campus, but mostly in life. So thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Cecilia McGeehee, but the students call me Cece. I am the TRIO College and Career Access Advisor for both McKinleyville High as well as Arcata High. And I serve about 200 students in the No-Hum area, and that's at 8 different schools in either McKinleyville or Arcata. But McKinleyville High specifically, I have a caseload of 70 students, and that is growing as I get the new 8th graders from McKinleyville Middle School. That will grow to almost 100 students next year. And so what I do is I help the students on campus with creating pathways for them in regards to post-secondary education or career path. So that can look like university, community college, trade school, anything that caters to their life goals. Something that I'm really proud of, mostly I'm really proud of my seniors this year. Out of the 25 out of the 30 seniors that I have on my caseload are signed up and ready to go to college next year. I think that's a huge success, and the 5 that aren't already have jobs or family businesses lined up, so feeling particularly good about their futures. And I guess I'm going to echo what everyone says about the best part of their job is getting to know the students, their unique goals, and being the person they can come to achieve those goals, and seeing it light up in their eyes is probably one of the most rewarding aspects of the job and of the work that we do here on campus. Thank you.
As I mentioned, our success coaches can't be here tonight because they have college obligations, but these 2 students in particular, these 2 success coaches, their job is to work primarily with our seniors to gain access to financial aid for post-high school, career, and college. So their financial aid assistance is their #1 goal, but they've also been meeting with our students who are just, we're getting acceptance letters, I'm scared, what do I do? They have these beautiful blossoming relationships with our students. So in their testimonial they shared, they just said supporting this one particular student with not being sure what's the best college and how do I do this, and being able to sit and quietly and slowly pace through it. They just were so excited for this student who has committed to Chico and now will qualify for more scholarships. Additionally, both Julie and Penelope were students who had to work really hard to get to where they're at. They didn't have a lot of guidance at their sites. So now they feel especially empowered, like, I know what it's like, I was just there. Penelope will be graduating with a bachelor's degree at 19 years old. So she is incredibly motivated. Julie is 20 and also will be receiving a bachelor's. So these 2 students, they work hard, they tell people, it was hard for us, but you too can be the next folks. But the financial aid and assistance they're providing is really helping the students realize I can get training and go to college without being in debt, and that is a huge relief for many students. And now, Wes.
Good evening, everyone. Please forgive me, I'm not much of a public speaker, so please excuse me while I read from a brief paragraph that I wrote earlier. My name is Wesley Mergel, and I am the campus supervisor at McKinleyville High. My job is quite versatile in the way that I need to be ready and alert for any and all situations. I keep my head on a swivel looking for anyone or anything that can threaten the safety of our students and staff. Apart from instructional aid staff and occasionally admin, I am the only one consistently walking the halls during class time. So I'm often redirecting students where they need to be and helping deal with students who have eloped. I'd like to stress the fact that we need more people in my position. Before I started working in March of last year, many students were running amok, cutting class completely unchecked, and I'm happy to say that I have helped put a stop to that issue. On average, I encounter transients or community members who have no business being on campus about twice a week. I escort them off campus, and I am not afraid to get confrontational when it comes to the students' safety. I understand that my colleagues have been pushing to hire a female to also be in the campus supervisor position because lots of students don't feel safe going in those girls' bathrooms, and unfortunately, I can't do anything about that. I think that's a wonderful idea. I think having one of each gender campus supervisors is the bare minimum of what we need. Thank you for your time.
In conclusion, we are all here for all of our students, and I am super excited to be a part of this department. Probably the most recent addition to the department, I would say. So there's lots of clubs and volunteering, one-on-one advisory groups, family meetings, partnerships with service providers and service clubs, and then connecting with the community. That's one thing that I've noticed coming back to McKinleyville High and being a part of this department again, or watching it, is the connections not only with all of the people that came up and spoke to you tonight, but how they're able to, and the whole department, to reach out to the community, to our students, our families, to resources, and build the McKinleyville community is just, it's pretty phenomenal what this department is doing. I wanted to also point out that a lot of the positions that you heard about tonight are grant funded. Some of them are federal and some of them are through the district. So the first slide that Ann presented to you were district employees, and everybody that spoke to you tonight, including, I think TRIO is grant funded? Yeah. So just to kind of keep that in mind as you're thinking about the budget. If you have any questions, anybody, there's a nifty little QR code that you can fill out and ask us questions. For the board, do you have any questions? Because that's for the audience.
Susie, I guess I had one. With the student service team, how is information shared with other campus partners, like faculty, staff, admin? Like, how is that as far as like working in a multidisciplinary model?
Sure. So I'm going to take a stab, and our department chair, Ann, can correct me if I'm wrong. So we do have a once-a-week SAT student assistance team meeting where many of the people that you heard from tonight are on that team, so we can share information with for our high-risk students. But as far as with the faculty, we now have an incident referral system through Synergy that, as the administration handles the incidents, the teachers are being notified through Synergy the way in which those incidents were handled. I think that's probably what you're after, is the incidents. Am I right?
No, you answered it with the SATs.
The SATs, you bet. Yeah, we communicate. It's amazing the amount of energy up and down the hallways in the office has changed over the years in my tenure. And there's just a lot of conversations, not necessarily in the hallways. Obviously, if it's private, we take it behind closed doors. But there are so many resources. It's amazing to work with students and know their situation and their personality, and there's somebody in our building that can help them. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Anything else?
I just have a quick question about the TRIO program. Do we have students at either of the schools that are participating in like educational talent search or Upward Bound programs?
To my understanding, TRIO Talent Search is at both locations, both McKinleyville and Arcata High. Upward Bound is only here at Arcata High.
Okay,
Thank
Anything else?
I just wanted to do a plug that I've had the chance to sit in on student assistance teams for both comprehensive sites, and it was really impactful just to see the both deeply knowledgeable and caring, while also very efficient work that happened to make sure that students were getting served. So, good job, team.
And I'll just invite all of the board members, if you'd ever like to attend one of our meetings, they're at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays. Cedric, we'd love to have you return if you ever wanted to come back and get some props, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. 6.0, human resources, collective bargaining. 6.1, recommend approval of resolution. I'm just going to leave it there. Is that okay?
Sure.
It's a long resolution.
This is just ensuring that our faculty possess the proper credentials, specifically the CLAD and the associated other credentials to make sure that we have the paper to serve our students, our English learners. And the difference with this is that if we had a teacher that didn't have their CLAD, then if there was a layoff, then they would lose their seniority when it came time for a layoff because they don't have the proper credentials. We've been working with all of our teachers that aren't in that position to help them get their credentials. So we've been supporting them, helping to whatever we can do to help them get over that. And Tammy, what's our status right now? Sorry to put you on the spot, but I think we've
I
cleared
think
it
I
almost
only
all the way
have
up.
3 people right
Yeah.
now. 2 of them were new hires this year, but all of the other folks in previous years have been taken care of.
Yep. So that's what this is.
Any questions or discussion? Any public comment on this issue? Okay, bring it back to the board for questions or motion.
Move to approve item 6.1.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. On to 9.0, 9.1, LCAP mid-year review.
I just click in there first, and then I'll introduce myself. I have glossary of terms, pass around, helps with all of the acronyms and specialized terminology.
We very
There's
much
a few
appreciate
extra
that.
if anybody in the audience doesn't know. I know some of you are working in schools, you may know these terms. If you'd like some. Good evening, my name is Jory McComas. My job title in the district is the Community School Systems Alignment Specialist. But this year I'm really working with as a coordinator for the 2 mental health grants that our district has, as well as helping to prepare the district for writing the new 3-year LCAP. And with that comes reporting on the previous LCAP. So tonight, in that role, I'll be reporting on the information that we've collected around how well we are moving forward on our goals, the LCAP goals. The data and the information that I'm going to share with you tonight is a collection of information from many different people. The action items that are embedded in the LCAP go across the spectrum of the employees and the staff at the districts, from the teachers, the administrators, all of our student services staff, all the way across the spectrum. So I helped collect that data, and I'll be reporting on it. But if you have specific questions that I can't answer, I'm really good at finding you the answers, because I'd like to get the answers from the source, from the person who provided that data, as opposed to making a guess tonight. So I will record your questions if you have them that I can't answer. I'm sure you're already familiar with the LCAP goals. We have 3. Basically in the areas of academics, and then social emotional and school climate and culture, and then community engagement and continuous improvement in goal 3. I'll be reporting on action items that are embedded within each of those tonight. Goal 1, our academics. This is where the bulk of our work, interfacing with students happens. So are there any questions about the goal itself as it's written? Okay. One of the things that happens with our, is that we need to do professional learning so that we continue to grow and improve as educators in order to best serve our students. So this is a kind of a cross-section of some of the types of PD that our staff are engaged in. And there you can see all those acronyms embedded in there. So we have UDL, Universal Design for Learning. We have the CRPBIS, that's the culturally relevant, positive behavioral interventions and supports. PDSAs, I'll get into a little bit more, but that's an iterative improvement cycle, plan, do, study, act. Co-teaching is a very specific teaching strategy. It's happening right now in our CATS program. The CATS program is defined in that document as well. Any questions around the PD that's happening? You guys you've probably been getting some reports on that going on. In addition to specific, yeah?
I just had a question when you're talking about co-teaching.
Yes.
You're training special education teachers. Are you also training, what is the word? General ed teachers to do the co-teaching too? Okay.
Yeah. And Melanie's been very integral in that process, if you have any specific questions.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, forgot. Go ahead.
One of the ways that we continue to improve beyond just professional development is the PDSA cycles. They're a smaller part of improvement science as a whole. And then within improvement science, one of the pieces there that we're really focusing in on is a disciplined inquiry. A way to really, having a specific process that we follow to ask where we want to make improvements, and ask with a hypothesis what we think we might be able to improve, and then go through a specific cycle, the PDSA cycles, in order to see if our changes are making an improvement on the outcomes that we hope to have. Our specific model is the PDSA cycle. There are other models. So the PDSA cycle, this is kind of a graphical representation of it. You plan out what it is you think you're going to do, what's the change that you're looking for. You actually then do that work, and while you're doing that, you're measuring your progress, you're collecting data, and then you study. What did the data show? Did it turn out the way we wanted it to? And what did we learn from it? Oftentimes you have unexpected learnings as well. And then the act is you make a decision. Do we go forth? Did this work well and we're going to continue, or do we make some minor adjustments? Or do you scrap it all together? But that process is an ongoing process of continuing improvement. Here are some current district PDSAs that are actually going on in the district. We have district level PDSAs focusing on the DNF list, and you can see some specific examples there that we have teams working on. And then there's some site levels. At every site, both sites, the department chairs and the departments themselves are working on PDSAs. And this is an example from MHS's Fine Arts Department. This was their hypothesis, the question they're asking, and they're in the midst of that PDSA cycle now. In addition to the professional development and the ongoing growth, we've engaged some new academic screeners. This is the way for us to get a better understanding of where our students are in English language arts and math specifically. This is a Renaissance product. It's brand new this year, and it's been, I think that we're finding that the teachers are pretty excited about the results that they're getting and the information they're using. It's pretty, the goals you can see are listed there. The frequency is 2 to 3 times a year. We will sit down, the TOSAs especially are the ones that are kind of leading this charge and are doing the trainings around it. And at the end of the year, make a kind of look and see how did that go, and how can we use this data to improve our students' academic success.
Do you mind if I added something
Please.
about that? One of the really cool things about this is that during those PDSAs, during those PDSA cycles that Jory was mentioning that the sites are engaging in, we have departments that are not the English department or the math department asking for the results from these. For example, the PE department was asking for the reading results so that they could determine if reading levels were impacting the success of students in the health classes, for example. So I just thought it'd be cool to share that with you.
In addition, on a more global level, we're also improving the master scheduling with a focus on student-centered master schedules. Our admin team is already engaged in that work. They've done some training around it. They're actively engaged in that work at this moment. So that's something I'm sure you'll be getting a report and updates on that. In addition, we have expanded career and technical education opportunities. These are some examples. There's expanded opportunities with College of the Redwoods. You heard a little bit about the expanded workforce opportunity with the biohealth that Ms. Demlo is writing up. So that's additional opportunities for student and in adding instructional materials based on some for existing pathways from some grant funding. So lots of opportunities that are going on in our academic instruction. Goal 1. Moving on to Goal 2, mainly around our culture and climate. This is really where the SEL comes in, the social emotional learning. And many of our previous slideshow was really talking about how are we providing for students' mental well-being and social growth. You may have heard of this term PBIS, Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. These are some of the keys of what we're doing in PBIS, and you can see the recognition that happened last year for some of our schools, silver and bronze recognition. In addition, on a larger scale, PBIS is a piece of the larger MTSS development. And within our MTSS development this year, we've rolled out a district-wide discipline flowchart so that we have really specific understanding of how we handle discipline and behavior in the classroom. And a comprehensive intervention inventory that's been going on, started with the TOSAs. Basically, we wanted to know what interventions are available in our district across all areas of the school. And so that data is actually, we were just talking today about how we're going to kind of pull that data apart and look at how we can start to use that information and use those interventions in a way that stops overlapping services, stops redundant services, and really maximizes the opportunity for us to get the right service, the right intervention to the students that need it. Specifically around the discipline policies, I mentioned a few minutes ago the discipline flowchart. This is a really exciting, I'm really excited about this document, and I know that the TOSAs are excited. I think the site principals have rolled this out in January, and this is a really comprehensive way and an easy way for the teachers to be able to see what is the process that happens in the, when I'm struggling with a student in the classroom. On this document, it's both laminated in their classrooms, but it's also a digital document that has a lot of embedded resources within it. So if you're wondering, what does it mean? There's a level 2 intervention. What do I do for the tier 1 evidence-based practice? A lot of those things are linked so you can get deeper information around them. And this is you can see it's organized as a flow chart, so you kind of answer your questions. Is this working? Did this work? Go to this next step. And so it makes it a quick, easy step for teachers and administrators to remember and see what the process is. And this also makes sure that we're following that process with fidelity. Yes.
Just curious, some of the feedback we've heard throughout, several board meetings is kind of about the concept of closing the circle on this flow chart, and I'm just curious what we're doing to make sure that final results make their ways back to the teachers that initiate the discipline.
I think I have an answer, but there's people in this room that have a better answer to that. Yeah.
I can answer that. So both of our TOSAs, both Lori and Nick, are working pretty diligently with the administrators, because I think that's where the breakdown in communication has been a little bit. The teachers want to hear back from the administrators on what has happened. So they are working with the administrators to make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know that some of the student information system upgrades and improvements have been kind of fine-tuned in order to make sure that that messaging gets pushed back correctly. Yes?
And then I'm just curious what the process is for collecting feedback on how this is working, what parts are really effective, and what parts might need a little finessing.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, we do have a staff feedback session coming up February 28th, and that's an opportunity, that may be something that comes up. We may get some staff feedback on whether or not this discipline chart, but that's not specifically a question that's in that feedback opportunity.
I can address that a little bit more in depth as well. I should just quit popping up and down, right? When Jory says that this was rolled out to the staff in January, it was, but that was a re-rollout because it was actually rolled out last year. And so after receiving a lot of feedback, the TOSAs actually worked with the administrators, worked a lot with Gail, and revised it. So this is like edition number 2. And the same thing will happen until we think we have it perfect. And so, well, as perfect as we can be. So it's the continuous feedback and the continuous improvement that we're working on. So I think it was first rolled out maybe mid last year, mid of the 2022-23 school year, and then months and months of additional work on it to have it rolled out again this year.
Thank you.
You can just stay right here. Just as background, you know, this is, I'm really learning a lot about the district. I'm new to the district. It's my second year here. And last year, most of my work was outside of the district.
And he's doing a great job, isn't he?
With the community schools grant. And so I'm really glad to have these experts here, and I appreciate you guys giving me a little grace with not having all of the answers for you right away. Moving into what trainings and the trainers that we have, this is an area that we've really, you know, some of the grant opportunities that I'm working on have really been able to kind of accelerate and amplify the amount of trainings, the amount of SEL services we have here. You can see that we've had quite a number of different staff trainings. There's been 14 trainings on this year so far, plus numerous technical assistance events. Those are when our TOSAs or our ICs are called directly by a staff member or an administrator to say, hey, I need help with this restorative circle. I need help with getting this, using CPI with this particular situation. So we have a lot of opportunities when our experts are really kind of moving in and pushing in and working side by side with our staff to make sure that these important SEL concepts and practices are being put into place and used effectively. You can see there what the focuses of the trainings were, all kinds of them. Those are all listed on that document for you. We have currently, and we're trying to increase the number of staff that are trained in these different practices so that we have within our own district the ability to continue to train our staff and our students and provide for our, you know, to be able to provide for ourselves in the district. How are we providing services for students? Well, we know that our services have increased for students this year. We have several different ways. At the site, you heard from from our social worker and all of the different services in the student services department in the ways that they're engaging with students. We've been able to add, through some grant funding this year alone, 2 social workers. Carrie Lockhart, who was here, is one of the people, a behaviorist, and a very experienced social worker who's also a clinical supervisor to oversee that work and to help systematize some of the work that the social workers are doing. We also have our TOSAs working together with the site level tier 1 team and intervention teams to help really improve the work they're doing. And then we're continuing to add other interventions, and that intervention inventory I mentioned earlier. Once we have that sorted out, we'll be able to use those interventions much more effectively. You may also have heard of the CATS program. Earlier in the year, it was called ACORN. That's an SEL intensive program for 9th and 10th grade students who are really struggling and may not have been academically successful without additional supports. And look at the staffing that's there in that's the additional staffing that's in that program as well. And this year alone, we've served 60 students, and next year we'll be able to increase that slightly. In addition to an academic screener, we've also added an SEL screener this year. It's called the SRSS, Student Risk Screening Scale. This is done by teachers, and the idea is to kind of help identify, especially identify students who have internalizing behaviors, but also externalized behaviors. And we use this in addition to all of the other data that we're collecting. It's an additional piece of data, but it's one that we didn't have before, especially that internalizing behavior. These are students that don't pop up on your radar necessarily for, for kind of egregious behavioral incidences, but students who may be struggling internally. And this is a quick view of some of the data from this year's first SRSS, both of the comprehensive high schools. And then this data was used along with that other data, and the SAT teams saw this and were able to kind of pick up on some kids that weren't on their radar before, but that needed additional supports and interventions. Lots of stuff happening along the LCAP. We're really making lots of progress here. Did I skip a slide there? I did. So goal 3, finally, we're into the community and family engagement and to the ongoing and continuous improvement in the district. There is, as you can see here, this is listing what's going on with our administrators, both site and district, and the work they're doing to improve in their practice. In community engagement, we have a lot of surveys and we have some feedback sessions. We will be holding some focus groups moving forward between now and the time when we actually finalize the LCAP. You can see the types of surveys that we've got going on there. You can see the people that we're engaging, our educational partners, and which ways that we're engaging them. And that data is all being crunched right now. We were just talking yesterday as a team that that's really something that we're going to be working on over the next couple of weeks, is getting that data ready to share with our educational partners, with the school board, with our LCAP writing team, so that we can make sure that we have a real comprehensive understanding of where our district's at, where our gaps are, and where our strengths are, so we know how to write this new 3-year LCAP. And this is more than, we've added some feedback sessions, more than we've done in the past. We added 2 evening sessions as well, so that we could try and capture families that may not be able to make those typical afternoon feedback sessions. And my final slide of the night is to talk about how we're using the career and technical education and how we're engaging the community in that. All the CTE pathways have to meet twice a year with an advisory board. You can see the makeup of who those members are and why. We want to be continuously improving our CTE pathways for students, and we want to be checking in with our community and the specialists that work in those fields. Are we teaching the students the things they're going to need to know for future success in these pathways? So that's a very exciting piece as well, to know that we're constantly looking to improve, and we're not just sitting with what we've always done. Any questions or comments?
Just one comment. I would really, really appreciate, I think I can speak for everybody, if you would share that presentation with us.
It's ready.
Oh, really?
And if it's not, we can share it again.
I did not see that.
There was a lot shared. So.
It was probably shared as a PDF.
PDF. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like a Google Slides.
And I will say, well, you know what? We will reshare it, because we updated 2 slides for you. So we'll reshare it with the updated slides.
I found it.
And I think that glossary that is probably a great thing to hole punch and put into your school board binder, because those are terms that are not going away. Those are things that are really important to know.
I told Aristay I was going to laminate it.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It should also go into our onboarding packet.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe we should do that.
It's an idea.
Okay, where are we? Here.
Okay, 9.2, recommend selection and approval of community member to serve on the HDN SELPA Community Advisory Committee.
So I think I could do by show of hands. I am guessing that we have 3 candidates here that are interested. Yep.
Okay.
Look at Trevor. Trevor's like present. So trustees, you have choices. You can, they all 3 submitted really thoughtful, information for you. If you'd like to, you could interview them and have some questions for you. You could ask them to speak extemporaneously on their own. You could sort of handle this out. How would you like to do this? And for everybody watching, this is one of those things that we can't talk about. This is always going to be sort of an open. So if it seems like it's unorganized, it's just because this isn't like a private conversation. So it's a public conversation.
We're not allowed to have a private conversation.
So that's what do you think?
So, I'm inclined, if they have something that they want to say, to let them do so, but I'm also inclined to say all 3 of these people want to be engaged in important work, and we should let all 3 of them do that work.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we did check. There's it's nice to have a diverse group of family members that are interested, community members. There is not a minimum or maximum requirement for you to approve. You can approve all 3, 2, 1. You have all the leeway in the world for that. If there are more community members on the community than vote, then the community itself would determine which members would vote. So if there was another school district that had a bunch of members that were brought to it, then it would be up to the committee themselves to decide how they're going to govern themselves in that advisory realm.
I'm sort of inclined towards that also. It's great to have actually 3 people stepping up for this role.
But I'm in the same boat. I hesitate to put any of you on the spot to jump up in front of the lectern. If you'd like to share, I'm comfortable with that. And you've provided us with some good information, and I am a big fan of community engagement and public service, and who knows, maybe you'll be up here someday. It's a slippery slope.
All right, well, I'm going to open it up to public comment, so if any of you want to.
Or you can let them do their thing.
My name's Jacqueline Debitz. So just put a face to the letter. And we've been on a long journey, and I could not be more thrilled and grateful for the reception and the quality of care that my child has had coming into Jacoby Creek District and what I see is possible in the high school. He's having incredible success. It's kind of a miracle. And so I definitely want to share and give back, and am grateful that there's more. Having worked in the public sector, it is really kind of a really great thing to have more than one, even to have anybody show up to volunteer.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Gina Hale. I live in McKinleyville on Penn Avenue, and I'd like to say, so lucky to have Jory. Worked with him in Eureka, and wow, really great. I have been attending the Community Advisory Committee for our SELPA for a while. I'm also the chair of the Regional Advisory Committee for our State Council on Developmental Disabilities. I'm a credentialed teacher. Oh, I have a CLAD. And I worked for West Ed in school improvement for 15 years, and with the U.S. Department of Education and the Institute for Educational Sciences. So I'm speaking some of the language about rapid prototyping, field testing, observation, continuous improvement. All of that is just amazing. What I notice on the Regional Advisory Committee and on the CIAC, especially the CIAC, is there's not been a quorum since 2020. they can't do anything. So they're a board who oversees special education in 2 counties, many school districts, this district being one of the larger ones, who has no advice from the community. And because of that, they asked if I'd be interested in becoming a member, looked at the bylaws and said, oh, you have to have board approval. Maybe you should go talk to the superintendent. So that's kind of how I got here. I was the president of another CIC in another district. And so I'm familiar with, open meeting laws, blah, 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 all the things. But I think the thing that I was really proud of, the work we did on that CIC, is we grew our membership from 5 to 80 in 2 years. We got so many parents and so many community members and so many stakeholders involved. And I think the process in the beginning there was a lot of growing pains, but it is always beneficial to have more communication and more community involvement from people who are served by the institution that is providing services, right? So I have 2 kids on the spectrum, you probably know. One who needs all the things all the time, and one who is extremely high functioning. And I've worked with many kids in between. And I think one of the things that I've gotten good at over the years is really listening to teachers, really listening to my school boards, really listening to parents, really listening to kids. It's amazing how much they can tell us about what they need. And as a reading intervention teacher, that was, I think, one of my superpowers, is just sitting down and listening to kids. Almost always they will reveal the things. So I also am grateful for all the things that my kids have gotten over the years out of special education, and I'm just super happy to see them growing roots and sprouting wings. And my oldest is now the crazy cat lady at the animal shelter, and her job is rehabbing the feral cats, and she's just glowing. That kid, I was told on her 3rd birthday, would not live past the age of 6, and she's 25, and she's my model for successful special education in the world. They told me when she was 5 that she was too cognitively impaired to learn to use a speech device. She now has sentences, paragraphs, snarky. She drops an F-bomb every once in a while, which my other kids are not allowed, but that one, okay, it's developmentally appropriate. We love it. And all of that is made possible by partnerships, really strong partnerships between Regional Center, our regional advisory committees, our Centers for Independent Living, our folks who support AT on the outside, and bringing them together as stakeholders to problem solve really difficult problems that our school staff struggle with. So that's what I think my role is, and thanks for the time. I really appreciate it.
Gina, just a real quick aside. No, it's just my son's at San Diego State, so I wanted to say go Aztecs.
Hi, my name is Trevor Hammonds. I'm the school psychologist here at Arcata High School. I also have a lot of kids. I have kids at multiple feeder schools to our district. I have children that graduated from Eureka. I have kids that graduated from Arcata. Recently, my partner and I adopted 7 foster kids that are with us now. One of them is intellectually disabled and a regional center client, and they went through Eureka High School and graduated with a high school diploma, which was amazing. And then I have 2 daughters that are deaf and go to California School for the Deaf. And then a gaggle of, and one of them is actually technically a senior at Arcata High School right now. She'll be graduating this year. And then next year I'll have a freshman who also goes to California Schools for the Deaf, so I won't get to see her. But they like it better when I don't go to school with them anyway. And then I, as a school psychologist, I also work very closely with the SELPA on just about every single angle you could possibly imagine, from paperwork to presentations to meetings to everything else. And yeah, I'm really excited for this opportunity. I think it would be really interesting, and I feel like I would have a lot to contribute. Thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, and we all match.
Salt and pepper.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Questions or motion?
I just want to say thank you to you all for your commitment to not only your kids, but the community's kids. And with that, can I move to approve all three candidates? Okay, I will move to approve all three candidates.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Comments from administrative team? Y'all have anything? you wanna share?
What did I want to? Oh, I sure. What? Did you have a comment? No. Okay. So I was just a couple of things. I did a little. I was as I was taking a look at the class lists before the meeting. I was trying to figure out, because when you look at the class size roster, like, it bugs me when like one school has an aggregate like different class size average than the other school, because Cindy sort of scientifically doles out the sections, and there's a math around it. It's based on the students that are showing up, and so when there's a discrepancy, it sort of bugs me. And so I was trying to figure it out, and so I think one of the things I realized today was, so like today there's 988 students at Arcata High School. Of those 988 students at Arcata High School, there are 42 enrolled at an independent study. There's still 988 kids at Arcata High School, but 42 of those 988 are in IS. Of those students that are in IS at Arcata High, they do a lot of, like, you might take a couple classes at Arcata High and then like 4 in IS. And so there's, so that's one thing. So there's that number. Let's look at McKinleyville High School. McKinleyville High School has 537 students right now, but of those 537, 47 of them are in independent study right now for, and that shifts back and forth from year to year. But I think that couple student difference in class size could very well be from the amount of students that currently due to their needs are in independent study. So that was, because there's the students that we built the schedule for, and then we had some matriculation out. So anyway, I was just doing a little recon on that, and I just thought I'd share that with you. And as an aside too, I know that Jory talked about the master schedule work we did. We really had quite a day of training for our site admin, and for Melanie and Cindy and Gail and I, just like really taking a deeper look into that so that we can really use that resource of our schedule to better serve our kiddos. So we'll report back on that. We also last month had a couple students from Arcata High School that spoke really articulately, thoughtfully about the bathrooms, right? And so across our district, we know that all of our students deserve a clean, safe place to take care of their needs, and we're not 100% delivering on that right now. And so I went back and I talked to that group of students at Saga, the club at Arcata High, at lunch, and they were awesome. And we talked a little bit more about their experience, and we've been meeting as an admin team to more, to put more time into, how can we have, safer, more, bathroom business orientated bathrooms instead of, gatherings where, bullying and other things take place. And so today in our admin team, our principals really doubled down to work with their what their team is on. I'm just calling them campuses, like the Arcata campus, the McKinleyville High campus, like all of that admin team, working with Tim to do a better job with the vape detection, and to take a look at high times when there's like more kids in there, and just really double down on keeping an eye on the bathrooms and following through on incidences in there. We're also at both of the high schools doing a better job moving forward on communicating with students about where there are gender neutral bathrooms. there are more gender-neutral bathroom opportunities than students think there are. And so principals are going to be communicating that out, to the kiddos, to our students, so that they have more information. And then also taking a look at like the key situation. We do need to lock those bathrooms. For the safety of our students, we do need to have that key to get in and out. We're not going to have a better key system in the short term, but we can try and do a better job of giving more access to students to get in and out. So that students were great and they're sharing, and then we put a bunch of time into trying to understand the issue better, and principals are going to work with teachers on passes out during the day. So we acknowledge that we have issues in our bathrooms, and we're doubling down our efforts to do a better job with that. What else did I have on here? Enrollment task force. We met last month. We as a group, and I know that Joanne's ill, and I think she's sick. She's sick. She's because she would be here otherwise. But I think when we get a chance to schedule something, we need to plan like a 3 or 4 hour chunk of time on a Saturday, so that you 5 can go through that same process that the enrollment task force did, and then even add a couple more layers to it, so that you can get the full impact of that and understand all the different research that we've done on the inquiry to understand what the motivation is, what's the root cause of students selecting one school over another, and then also what's the impact on the schools for teaching and learning. And so I think once the 5 of you have that sort of grounded, then we can be talking about making more difficult decisions if we need to, or allocating resources differently, or any of the things that we may do to deal with that. But I really think that having you grounded in that root cause will make those decisions easier and more meaningful. So that's the gist of what I have. I'm going to make a point of, when I do comments at the end of the meeting, to try and respond to some of the public comment that we have. We wouldn't necessarily agendize all of it, but when we hear things, make sure that I'm sort of reporting out on progress for you. So those are my comments.
Thank you.
Okay, 11.0, governance team issues, reflection planning. 11.1, discussion and possible action to approve candidate to serve as the 2024 CSBA Delegate Assembly. Can you talk about that?
Last year, I think Joanne served for the district. I don't know if she has any interest in doing it again.
I thought her term
Is still going?
it's
Is it
still
still
going.
going?
It
So
doesn't
it's an
end.
additional
So,
position?
but Alvin Sager from MUSD, his
is the one
expires
that's-
this year.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So you can select someone else on here if you'd like, or go, or let it, and nothing happens.
just because his board went ahead and nominated me without my without discussing with me, I'm going to nominate Alvin Sager again for us.
Okay. Any discussion about that? How does that work? What do we?
We'll write it on the paperwork.
Okay. Is that a public comment thing?
Yeah, people can. And it's Alvin Sager?
It's actually George Sager. Alvin's is the name he goes by, so it'd be George.
Sager?
Mhm.
Okay, just making sure.
Any public comment? All right. Do we need to motion on that? Okay.
I move to name George Sager as the delegate assembly member.
I will second, and I'm frantically thinking of anyone else I have a grudge against.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Reflection on current meeting. Any thoughts?
This is probably the most that I have felt the impact of the restructured agenda, and I think the way that we have focused all of the conversation around serving students, I think there was a great balance of bringing in the social emotional learning. I'm just really pleased with the session.
Me too. And I just want to say I really appreciated that about the LCAP presentation, that it was really focused on not the compliance, but like the actual data and goals and all of that. I thought that was awesome.
Yep. I don't have anything to add to what you said.
Good. I guess we could do the UDL. Can we move the UDL up and then do closing comments? Is that okay? So we read Unlearning, or at least the introduction to Unlearning was the assignment. So we're doing a UDL book study group just to kind of get to know what the district is doing. I was thinking if anybody has like a passage or just sort of an idea, something that they thought was interesting, useful, or questions. Just general thoughts. I'll be the English teacher of the day.
There is one quote that really stuck out to me. I mean, I come from play-based early childhood education, so I'm always going to be an advocate of choice. So there's a paragraph here on page 7. There will be challenges to letting students choose. Some may always choose the same pathway, others may struggle to make a choice. There is frequently concern that students will always choose the easy way. But making great choices is a skill, so it's possible that students won't make the best choices all the time, but it is our responsibility to create opportunities for them to reflect and realize that their choice wasn't effective. It is also an opportunity to empower students to provide us with feedback on the types of choices that will help them make better choices.
Yeah, I liked that idea of the buffet, right? The sort of choices did make me think about early childhood education, but also just the process of choosing as a kind of learning in and of itself. I like that.
One thing in the introduction that kind of stood out to me is in talking about high expectations in the classroom that, you know, all teachers want to have. It said, we didn't necessarily know how to do this, we just knew that we wanted to. However, we also experienced how often teaching meant following a curriculum that was designed for a mythical average learner. We acknowledged that our classrooms didn't work for every student, but we didn't always know what other choices we had. And that really, like, I don't know exactly how to say it, but it like really gave me pause to maybe understand the depth of like why this is such a, not just a complicated process to go through, but how getting teachers to like unstick from something that they learned in college and have been doing for years and years. And I don't know, it just was a good little piece of perspective for me.
Yeah, no, totally. And that was my takeaway with the readings as well, just the process and the idea of unlearning in the context of teachers and faculty. And I really appreciate a lot of the evidence-based theories and ideas that were provided in the book. So it wasn't just like fantasy thinking or wishful thinking. So for me, reading, that helped me just reflect even more on the information in the book.
And to understand like how it's so challenging to do things in a different way, right? Like if we didn't have a buffet of options when we went through school, it's really hard to then imagine and implement it in a different way for the next generation. Yeah.
Well, and I tried a buffet of options in my class today after reading this because I teach at Humboldt. And I have to say, I made some bad choices about the options I gave my students. So it was a learning experience for myself. But it was interesting to just sort of see how it might work. And I think that's one of the things that I liked, just the kind of the idea of unlearning. And then I highlighted on page 28, just sort of this idea that we have a lot of things that we know don't work, and yet we continue to keep doing them. And so I think, I don't know, that was just sort of helpful to me. So I kept sort of coming back to that idea of like, we know things are not working. We know that lots of students are graduating and yet they're not necessarily learning, or they're getting good grades, but they're not necessarily learning. So like, how can we kind of close that gap?
I gotta say, Natalie, this book was staring at me from my desk, and I was resenting it for a little while. And I really appreciate having something accessible to get us kind of on the same page as we're asking questions, as we're trying to understand where the challenges are in what is impacting staff and students. And I think this was a really good idea.
Thank you to Roger and Melanie for giving us the books.
Thank
and
you.
I wrote my book, so I'm going to keep it.
I would just say one other thing. If y'all are really interested in delving,
Sorry, just so people at home can.
if you're really interested in delving into that idea, the myth of averages, there is an excellent TED Talk. It was filmed in Sonoma County, and I cannot remember the speaker's name, but the title of it is The Myth of Averages. It's about 20 minutes long, and it is an excellent way for you to really wrap your head around what it is that our kids are experiencing and the learner variability among our kids.
Thank you. So are we going to kind of agree on some reading for next time? Or are we going to?
I think we have a second book. Do we have a second book?
You do, but did you want to finish this one first?
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah. Do you want to finish this one?
Yeah, let's finish. I
Okay.
just thought I had some stuff going on in my life, so I didn't get too much further into it other than what we agreed to read.
Than
But
the
I would like to
introduction.
kind of decide on,
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll do the first 3 chapters. So we did the introduction, not an introduction, and then we can do the next 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Okay. And then we have this one that we'll kind of work through next.
And I have not received that one yet, so I don't know if it's in the works.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
It's in the works.
Okay.
I think they're on my desk. That's right, we just sent the one. Right. We'll send them out tomorrow.
It's all right. I've got curbside delivery from Kale.
Okay, I'll just move up then to 11.3. Any closing comments? Any folks?
I'll say, I want to, we had a really good study session board meeting last Saturday, and I really appreciated the conversations that we had. We kind of broke through and did some, hard work, kind of really getting ourselves focused. And the more I've reflected about it, the more good I have felt about it. So I'm looking forward to continuing to push forward with that and what our next steps will be. So thank you to all of you for that, and Roger for helping to get it all coordinated. Tammy for what you did to help get us fed, and Michael's not here, but to him for his excellent facilitation of the meeting. So that, and I want to say, thank you to the staff at McKinleyville High School admin for the LCAP meeting that I got a chance to go to. Really liked how you centered the questions and the conversations. I thought it was great. So.
Everybody else good? Okay.
Yes.
11.5. Next meeting will be March 12th, 2024. And we're adjourned.
Yeah.
Here.
Well,
in this library.
would you like us to send out some sort of doodleize something for a Saturday for
Oh,
the enrollment
yeah,
task force?
Yeah.
Okay. So you generally like that idea,
Mhm.
find a chunk. So we'll work on that tomorrow. We'll get some Saturday set out.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.